Hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and have today's meeting with a little screen capture. I just want to throw these stats up. Today we're going to go over time management, and we're also going to go over dispositioning and what we're looking for. Okay? So as far as time management goes, um, we need everybody to go call to call. So he who has the most calls by theory, puts themselves in line for the most success. And let me kind of give you a little bit of an idea here. George, and all these guys here, this is a training class. You guys were all in the same training class. These are the same guys that, you guys all got 3 days on the phone. These are yesterday stats. So yesterday stats, if you look, George got 700 calls. He's got 7 transfers. So 1 out of 100. George is right in line, basically. But it's not guaranteed. If you look at Kevin over here, Kevin took 700 calls and he got 3 transfers. But usually, he who takes the most calls gets the most transfers. So we need to make sure we're getting more calls. So how do we get more calls, right? I don't want to just tell you to do something and not explain to you how to do it. So how do we get more calls? First, you got to show up on time. If you don't show up on time, you can't take the calls, right? Obviously, everybody else will take more calls than you. All right, so the first thing is you got to show up on time. Now, we start shift at 9 a.m. So what time you get in, and it's Eastern time, by the way. Whatever time you have to get in, it's going to vary depending on agent. Some of you guys are going to need to get in 15 minutes early, half hour early. I'm not even sure if your center has rules on how early you have to get in. But you got to get, go to the bathroom, smoke your cigarette, get your desk in order, whatever you got to do. But at 9 o'clock, you have to start work. That's just the way it is, guys. All right? So you're either going to get on the phone at exactly 9 o'clock, or you're going to watch some kind of meeting like this one, and then you're going to get immediately on the phone. Not watch the video and go to the bathroom and get on the phone. No, it's work time. Watch the video and immediately get on the phone. That's why my team is constantly hammering you guys to get in and out of your breaks quickly. Because the first few days, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you guys on our schedule. We got too many centers. As you see, this is just one training class. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different call centers. I'm sure in different time zones and different continents. And we're in the United States, so it's a multinational event that we're trying to coordinate, and the only way to coordinate it is everyone has to be on the same schedule to the minute. All right, now I'm an EST, so everything I say I speak in EST. You have to convert it to your time zone. All right, so you got to show up on time. If you're not on time, we got to lock you out of the dialer for the day. Why? Not because I don't want you to work, because that's how I make money too. I make money when you make money. Obviously, I don't make money if you don't. But it's because we have to set a precedent. We have to condition everybody. Everybody has to be on the same page. We can't allow agents late on the dialer because, we have to be prepared. Once the IT is finished getting everybody on the dialer, accumulating the head count, we move on to other things like pulling stats and calls and listening to transfers and answering your questions, not login questions, et cetera, et cetera. So you got to make sure, the first thing is you're on time, okay? Because if not, you'll throw everything out of whack for us. So 9 o'clock, you're on the phone or you're watching the video, and then once you're done watching the video, immediately get on the phone. If not, we have to lock you out of the dialer for the day. You can come back the next day and try it again. All right. So then we have a 15-minute break at 11 o'clock. So at 11 o'clock, take your 15-minute break. If you're on a call, sure, take that call, and finish the call, transfer it to us, hopefully. But still, 15-minute break at 11 o'clock. So that means at 11:15, you should be getting back on the phone. Not at 11:20, not at 11:19, at 11:15, because it's a 15-minute break. We expect you guys to get back on the phone. That's why the team is saying, hey, guys, let's get back on the phone. All right. So then lunchtime is between 1 and 2. So at 1 o'clock, go to lunch. You have an hour. And then at 2 o'clock, you have to be back on the phone or listening to this meeting and then immediately getting on the phone. At 4 o'clock, we have another 15-minute break. So 4 to 4:15 is break time. And then at 6 o'clock is last call. So your very last call should be at 6 o'clock. Not 5:59, not 5:58. It should be 6 o'clock. That's your last call. Then you're done. All right? So if you do that part right there, it's half the battle. That's showing up. Showing up and adhering to the break schedule and the lunch schedule, okay? Now, the second portion of it is going to be going call to call. No unauthorized breaks. We see you on pause. We're going to send you a message. You know, no dead calls, which means that you're just on the disposition screen and you're not taking the next call. And definitely don't want you guys on after call. So what we want you guys to do is take call to call to call to call to call to call to call. I'm trying to pack the most calls into you as possible. All right, so let's take a look at these stats real quick. All right, so we got Chetan, he's got 4. Vabov, you got 1, but you got to pick that up. We need you closer to 8. Sankaran, you got 3. Again, closer to 8. Muhammad, you got 2. Salman, you got 2. Sohab, you got 4. Talha, you got 1. You got to pick that up. You need to get closer to 8. Samir, David, you both got 2. You guys need to get closer to 8. George, you got 7. Way to go, George. You're leading the pack. Everyone's chasing you, buddy. John, you got 0. That's completely unacceptable. We don't allow zeros. If you get 2 in a row, you'll be kicked off the program. Kevin, you got 3. Peter, you got 3. Richard, you got 4. Richard, you're almost there. You're halfway, buddy. And Sean, you got 1. 1 is not acceptable. We need to get that closer to 8. Now, I need everybody at 8 per day. That's not a request. That's a demand. That's what I demand out of you. That's what the job is. Your job is to do nothing else but to get 8 transfers over to my closing department. That's literally your job. And you have to do it within a day, each agent. All right? Now, do I want it today? I wanted it yesterday. But I understand that some of us will need to take a glide path. So let me explain to you what a glide path is. So let's go ahead and pull. Let's do Chetan real quick. All right. So Chetan's got 4 transfers. So Chetan, that's your, that's where you're at is 4 right now. So a glide path would be you need to get to 8. So 8's your ending goal. So how long do you think it's going to take you to get from 4 to 8? So you might say, hey, Frank, it's going to take me 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Well, let's see the progress. So at the end of this week, you should be at 5 a day. And then next week, you should be clearing 6, 7. And the end of the next week, you should be at 8. So we need to see that glide path progressing. We don't want to hear it. We want to hear it and see it. So we want to hear it and we want to see it. All right. So that glide path has to be going positive. George, you're almost there. Keep it up. I'd like to see you do that more days in a row. I want to see your consistency. Right now, it's just a measurement, guys. I'm measuring you. So why are we measuring you? Because we want to see where you guys rank. When we see where you guys rank, we can see, okay, these guys here, we don't need to work with them as much. These guys here, we might need to work with, and these guys here, we need to let go. Obviously, this is a performance job. It's a sales job. We don't sell, we don't eat. So we like to eat, so we got to make sales. These answering machines, they need to be mostly in line. Like if you're taking the same amount of calls, these are all pretty much all going to be similar, and you got to figure the difference between George and the difference between Chetan is only 3 calls, right? So there's a small difference when you talk about the difference in numbers. So you're talking 731 calls and 581 calls. The only difference was 3, between Chetan and George. So only difference was 3. All right, so small percentages right here. Doesn't really affect these. So these should all look the same. So when you look at answering machine, I shouldn't be seeing John with 28 and Kevin with 150. There's a huge problem there. Somebody, if not both of them, are miscoding the answering machine. All right, so busy, we took busy out. You no longer have busy as a disposition. But these 18, and then you see 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. It makes me question what's real. Is the 0 real, or is the 18 real? Or are we just not using busy signal correctly, right? So then now we have callback. Callback's bullshit. Callback's a nice way to say, go fuck yourself, not interested. That's the truth. Yeah, ask a manager, ask a senior person, they'll tell you. If they're buying now. If they're not buying, it's because they sold you. So these callbacks, some of these are crazy. 61, 40, like if you can't sell them, why would we want to sell them? And if they sold you on why they're too busy to listen to you, I mean, come on, guys. Bill it or kill it. That's all I want. We got millions and millions and millions of people to call. Just bill it or kill it. I pay for the data. You don't have to worry about that. We got money, so just bill it or kill it. All right, so here we got 61, we got 40, but then we got 0, 0, and 1s and 2s and 3s. So it tells me like we're not across the board understanding what it is. So I took callback out. You don't have callback. Now DA is dead air. Dead air means you're saying hello, 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 and there's nobody there. When that happens, I need you to mark those as dead air. DC is for disconnected. Disconnected is doo-doo-doo. This phone number has been disconnected and is not in use, or the phone number has changed. That's what disconnected is. It's just a pre-recorded message saying the phone number has been disconnected. But I can tell you this. I can tell you, John, you didn't have 380 disconnects. I can tell you, Sean, you didn't have 366. And Samir and Talha had 0. And you see how crazy swing this is? 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 242, 380, 110, 366. So we got to make sure everybody's on the same page. This is supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like a flow. And I'm supposed to say, oh, look, this is off, or this is off. But right now, everything's off. So it's not a big deal. You guys, 3 days on the phone. We're catching it now. We're informing you now. I just need you guys to clean it up. So not a big deal. Don't worry about it. All right, this is decline. This has been taken out. DNC, do not call. I took that out. We just throw the DNCs in the not interested. I don't need 2 not interested piles. You see, because I have to add this 687 and this 2613 here, because now that's my true number, because DNC is really a not interested. We're not calling either of those piles back. N, I think that's no home maybe. I don't know. We changed a lot of the dispositions, but as you can see, we got 1 here and 307 here. So we got to get on the same page. Not available. You get 0 not availables. That's impossible. You know, homeowner's not available. That's what the not available is. You know, because you don't ask for the name on the screen in the script. So if they say the homeowner's not available, it would go in here. But do you see how one has 23 and the rest have 0? Something's wrong here. So I just, you know, we got to make sure we're on the same page. We took nursery out. We don't need that. Renter's still the same. But if you look here, we got 20 renters and we got 0. So if they're not the homeowner, just go ahead and throw them in as renter. But make sure you're logging your calls in. These are under contract. So if the customer has an alarm system, but they're under contract, but look, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 38, 26, 0, 0, 0. So some of us are coding our calls wrong. Some of them are coding our calls right. But in order for me to read this accurately, I need everybody to code their calls correctly. So that way I can see who's doing well and who's not. Because at this moment right here, these are the only 2 columns that actually matter. The other columns, all these right here, these are all garbage because they're wrong. When they're so lopsided, they're wrong. So these are the only 2 that I can literally go off of right now. So I can go off of how many calls it took you to get your transfers. So let me just pull, I don't need a calculator. So Vabab is 1 out of 185, but Muhammad is 1 out of 311. You know, George is 1 out of 100 and, you know, 1 out of 107. So you can see the difference. John is 0 out of 424. Sean is 1 out of 1 out of 545. Richard over here is basically 1 out of 150. So, you know, once I get a better gauge from you guys, I can tell how many calls it's going to take for you to get transfers. So my job is to get more calls in your headsets, because you'll get more transfers. Because obviously if you know, George is 1 out of 107, if I need George to get another transfer, right, if I need George to get to 8, what do I need to do? I could try to make George get better. That'd be nice. But I could just give George another 107 calls, and he would have 8. You see how that works, guys? So I'm trying to get everybody into the amount of calls. You have to take the calls. It's a numbers game. The numbers game means is that you ask girls out at the bar, somebody's going to say yes. You just got to ask them all. All right? So that's going to conclude our meeting. It's just time management and coding your calls properly. And remember, we're shooting for that target of 1 transfer per hour per agent. That's the goal, guys. You know, that's your job. You don't have to worry about anything else. I don't want you worrying about anything else except for 1 transfer per hour per agent. And how do you do that? Management, at the top of the hour, once the hour is over, you got to let your floor know, hey guys, new hour. Everybody's got to get another transfer. Let's go. It doesn't matter what happened last hour. It doesn't matter if you got 100 transfers, you got no transfers. Last hour is over with. I don't care. It's a new hour. Every hour has to be a new day, guys. And you have to push yourself. Every single hour. Hey, John, come on, let's go. It's a new hour. I need another transfer from you. All right, boss, how much time we got? 45 minutes. Let's go. Everybody's got to get something in the next 45 minutes. So every single hour, every agent has to do something. if there's an hour going by where you're not doing something, that's a problem, and I need you to fix it. But you can fix it by staying on the break schedule, by going call to call, and making sure that you're following the process. All right. So I'm really proud of the growth. Trust me, there's a lot of growth in here. I see a lot of talent. I see a lot of people that I want to work with. So let's keep it up. Let's make some money, guys. All right. So let's log them in. Let's light them up. I need you guys to get on the phone immediately. So as soon as you're done with this recording, run, get your headset on, log in, because my closers are hungry. They're waiting for you. And trust me when I tell you, if they don't close your deals, they don't get paid. So they don't eat unless they get installs. So let's send them some transfers so we can all make some money, okay?